Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. I am going to get started in just a second. Share my screen. Perfect. Hopefully everybody can see my screen. I'm going to just give it a moment to let others join us. Fantastic. We just wrapped up a terrific session, fireside chat with Rick Wagner. It was wonderful insights and industry expertise from him. And I am so excited to be here with you today talking about building trust and customer loyalty with Millennials and Gen Zs. And so going to go ahead and get started. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm sure you are trickling in from our last keynote session with Rick Wagner. We've had an exciting day already here. I'm hoping that you have found it incredibly impactful. You're getting little nuggets. I did want to just share that we are recording each of these sessions. And so you will have an opportunity if you've missed a breakout session to go back and watch that. It will be loaded shortly after each session back into the auditorium. But today I'm going to be speaking about and exploring how to build trust and customer loyalty with Millennials and Gen Zs, two generations that are really redefining the customer experience. But first, I wanted to start off with a visualization to get you started and get you thinking about today's topic and how you as a shop owner or service advisor present yourself. So I'm an avid reader and I always love reading books, but one of the books that has really stuck to me for quite some time and actually was given to me by a industry friend, Vic Tarasic. So some of you might know him, but he gave me a book by Seth Godin, and he wrote a book called The Purple Cow. And so again, we're going to start with a visualization and what he talks about. And so Seth starts off and he paints this picture. And so I want you guys to imagine that you're driving past fields, fields with brown cows everywhere. And at first you notice them, but over time they begin to blend in and you become numb to the sameness, right? And so the same thing happens in marketplaces, right? Very relevant to this industry. Your customers are bombarded with, in most cases, repair shops after repair shops as they drive down the road. It's hard to break free from mundane of normal, right? And so what I want you to do is think about it in this way. You all of a sudden see a purple cow. How unexpected is that purple cow? After you've been driving, you see all those brown cows, and all of a sudden you see a purple cow. And so what is it going to do to you? It's definitely different. It takes you by surprise, right? And so you're most likely going to stop and you're going to have to talk about it. And you take a few photos probably. And if you're one of the generations that we're going to talk about today, you're definitely going to post about it. You're going to create a TikTok most likely, or even a Snapchat. You definitely remember a purple cow. Okay. So Goodwin also talks about companies that shook things up. Think back. Remember Sears catalogs were the go-to for shopping? What about when we used to call businesses in hopes somebody picked up? What about when the iPod came out and you no longer had to carry or work out with that heavy CD player? I still remember it to this day. And I'm sure most of you remember a loved one giving you a DVD player or a CD player with a spring break mix or something on that, right? We've seen customer expectations evolve drastically. And these businesses that I've shown here are just some of those that have kept up. They thrived, right? But the key to success is about being laser focused, finding your niche, finding your group of people, and become the absolute best for them. So I want you to think about, are you trying to be the best for everyone, right? You can't be the best for everyone because how much of an impact for your business will that make if you focus on driving the best for everyone, right? So what I want you to focus on and what we're going to talk about is How much more impactful will it be for your business if you focus on driving impact in a specific area, right? Knowing what your purple cow is, or focusing on your sneezers, right? Those trend centers. Right now, this is the dominant generations that are out there, and they are your customers. And so, how do you create something worthy of being shared? To do this, you're going to have to understand how millennials and Gen Zs think, how they buy, and how they want to be engaged. So the shift that's going on right now, we've moved away from Yellow Pages to Yelp and from phone calls to text and DMs. Gen Zs and millennials were raised in this digital era. They're not just future customers, but they are the majority now. So let's look at what they are and who they are and what they make up. Millennials and Gen Zs are now the dominant car-owning demographics in the US, which means together they represent not only the present, like I just mentioned, but also the future of ownership, and understanding them is going to be key to being competitive and staying competitive. Both millennials and Gen Zs are often referred to as the tech savvy, right? They grew up in a different technological landscapes. Millennials, which I am, witnessed the rise of the internet, right? They experienced the transition from dial-up to speed up. If you are like me, my stepdad, I think we didn't really have dial-up for 5 years or high-speed internet for 5 years afterwards because he was like, we're not doing this. But flip phones, remember that? To smartphones. They adopted to the digital world as it evolved. Whereas Gen Zs, on the other hand, they are true digital natives. They were born into a world saturated with smartphones, social media, and even higher speed internet. Gen Zs have grown up with technology integrated into every aspect of their lives. Okay. Millennials are both projected to make up 45% of retail spending in 2025. Just want that to sink in a little bit. They are also projected to grow 60% by 2030. It's just 5 years. Actually, we're somehow already halfway through the year. And so just 4.5 years. So for your businesses, this means that catering to these generations can lead to substantial growth opportunities by adapting your tools and your services to meet these influential customers. So why does Gen Z and millennials matter? And what do they expect from your shop? That's why you guys are here. And just really quickly, guys, we are recording this. So if you missed anything, it will be on demand, but you can also put questions into the chat and I will make sure that I get those answered. But by 2030, millennials and Gen Zs will have a combined annual income of $4 trillion. Their expectations are already reshaping how businesses operate today, and automotive repair industry is no exception. I'm sure some of you guys have felt this. Those who have been in business for a few decades now have really seen shifts happening for a while. So understanding what drives them no longer is optional. It's essential for growth, retention, and long-term relevance. So millennials, let's talk about them first. They really are looking for they're the loyal experience seekers. So things like brand loyalty with expectations. Millennials are loyal, but not only to brands that earn it, but only to brands that earn it. So they tend to stick with companies that consistently deliver value, trust, and alignment with their personal values. Let's talk about Chick-fil-A, right? What are they doing to drive value every single time? When you say thank you, what do they say back? And you're expecting that response back from them. So think about the things that your customers are expecting from you and the experiences that they're expecting. When you go to Disney and you spend thousands of dollars, what is the experience that you expect from these companies and their brands, right? They're creating brand loyalty through experiences. Millennials are also looking for personalized, experience-driven things. So they expect businesses to know who they are. They provide tailored services and communication that make them feel relevant and thoughtful. So some ideas here, right? Management systems have notes sections. And so maybe you're having your service advisors having a conversation with one of your customers, and you have to be actively listening to be able to do this, but they tell you that This weekend is their daughter's 16th birthday and they're going to be gifting their daughter a new car, right? Are you writing those things down so that the next time that they come in, you can ask them, right? It seems so simple, but it does make people feel like they are being heard and they are being seen. Everybody wants to be seen at the end of the day, right? Millennials also expect zero tolerance, or they have zero tolerance for bad service. So their loyalty can disappear really quickly. Slow service, poor communication, or a lack of consistency across touch points, that's definitely enough for them to leave. So think about, are you doing appointment reminders? Are you giving your customers updates on where their vehicle is throughout your shop, right? Are you giving them just kind of check-ins, deferred services, maintenance reminders, right? Those types of things matter. The touch points matter that you bring. Now, shifting gears to Gen Z, they're a little bit more pragmatic in their value, right? So they're going to hunt for this. And so Gen Zs tend to be a little less brand loyal, more value focused. Gen Zs are practical. They are less impressed by names, by the recognition, and more interested in authenticity, usefulness, and transparency. So on your website, are you being authentic to who you are? Going back to that purple cow that I talked about and we visualized in the beginning, for those of you who have just joined, we really want to make sure that you are giving experience to not just everyone, but those that you're really trying to narrow in, of like focusing on your niche, right? And making sure that you are driving the brand that you want to. And so think about your website. Are you driving a brand that's authentic, right? Do you have customer testimonials on your website? Do you talk about your employees, right? Does your social media, and we'll talk about some of these techniques, does your social media showcase your employees and who you are, right? Behind the scenes of your business. Gen Zs definitely expect mistakes, but only if you're real about them, right? So they will forgive slip-ups, but you have to communicate those clearly and fix them fast, right? So being able to kind of just put your ego aside and just say, hey, this is what happened and here's what we're doing about it. Gen Zs are digital natives who expect instant access. And so remember what we talked about previously, Gen Zs grew up online, right? So if your shop doesn't offer real-time answers via live chat or social media, or worse, doesn't respond at all, you're already behind. And so we talk about, and a lot of things that I hear in the industry is, if you have Google reviews, of course, we all want the best reviews, but the reality is most people will only leave reviews if they're bad, right? If they've had a bad experience. And so for you as a shop owner or whomever in your shop is managing your Google reviews, you need to make sure that you're also responding to the bad as much as the good, right? How you respond to those negative reviews is a clear indicator of how you care about your business and your customers, right? Regardless, some may say, well, it doesn't matter, they're not going to come back in anyways. But again, it's not for getting those customers to come back in. It's to make sure that the new customers that do come in really see who you are, right? We all have times where we make mistakes, or maybe the customer just doesn't really understand what happened in the shop. And that's why building trust and loyalty through pictures, right? Digital vehicle inspections are so important. But all that to say, make sure that you're responding not only to the good, but also the bad. But just kind of wrapping this up, what do they have in common? Both generations expect real-time support. So whether that's booking appointments online, asking questions, they want immediate help, ideally via chat or social, right? So Google Book Online is something that AutoLeap offers straight from your website. So when you are traveling and you have zero idea of what restaurants are around you, that Google Book Online will be like the first thing that you see when you type in restaurants near me, right? This experience is all about convenience, right? Are you providing convenience for your customers to come in and see you and experience the services that you provide? And so those are things that you need to think about, of like, what is the convenience that you're creating from that first touch point, okay? They do want self-service. Self-service is a must. And so give them the tools, like I just said, to help themselves. Online scheduling, status updates, digital invoices, all of those things can be managed through a shop management software like AutoLeap. So these things all empower trust, okay? Again, Consistency is key. Whether online or on the phone, in your shop, the experience should feel seamless, professional, and easy every single time they come visit you. So how do you win the trust with millennials and Gen Zs? Earning their trust of these generations is not about flashy marketing. I know marketing is super important, but it's also very expensive. But what you really need to focus on is meeting high expectations with real action. So investing in authentic communication and the right digital tools to make their lives easier. So what does that mean for you and your shop? Online presence is the first impression. 91% of millennials and Gen Zs check reviews before making a decision. Think about, I want to know, put it in the chat. Does your shop manage Google reviews, and is it something that they can see? I hope all of the answers are yes. If your shop has outdated reviews or even an incomplete Google listing or no online footprint, keep in mind that you are not going to be visible for those new customers. A professional mobile-friendly website with real photos, services, and testimonials. Do you have those? Would love to hear that. These things build trust before they ever call you, okay? Communication can make or break you, right? 70% of folks, your customers, prefer real-time online updates, text messages about services, the progresses, we've already talked about these things, digital estimates, right? Are you putting pictures with your estimates? Are you taking videos to really get your customers to see what's going on? I always like to bring up the example of, I don't know if I have dog lovers out there, but I have 3 dogs. Some may say that's too many, but I just say it's extra love and a lot more cleaning. But when you take your dog, just use this as one example. I'm sorry if you're not a dog owner, but when you go to the doggy daycare, right, and you're maybe out of town, what has the doggy daycare provided you with? An online portal for you to be able to see on a doggy cam where your dog is. Are they playing with other friends? Those types of things are the conveniences that your customers in this industry are also looking for. So I unfortunately have told my team how much money I've had to spend on cars that I don't like to talk about. But one of the examples was I had to get a transmission on one of my cars. And so for you guys, you know how much a transmission is going to cost me, $7,000, $8,000. At this point, I don't really remember, but I did get pictures of my car every step of the way. Hey, we are pulling your car into the shop. Hey, your car is now on the lift, right? You know, how do you create this experience that's real time? Those are the things that I want you to think about. These generations, they want to feel informed without having to chase you down, right? So what is an action that you can create before expectations are set, right? I want to exceed expectations of my customers. So if you are still relying on voicemails and phone tag, you're losing your customer. So growing demand for digital communication. Convenience isn't bonus, it's a baseline. So 60% of your customers expect to book online, right? 80% of customers want to indirectly or interact digitally, right? So that's majority of your customer base. We've talked about a lot of these examples, digital estimates, right? Reminders, creating online estimates and invoices, inspections. Are they able to review you easily? Do you have the opportunity to do online payments? Text to pay is a fantastic feature, right? It also gets you paid hopefully quicker. But the bottom line here is to build trust millennials and Gen Zs, you need to show up exactly where they are online in real time with transparency. This isn't about being trendy. It is about staying relevant. Okay. So next, we're going to talk about some strategies to attract and retain younger customers. In today's world, being good isn't good enough. And so as marketing expert Seth Goodwin, we talked about earlier, he puts it, the key to success is to become a purple cow, something truly remarkable in a field of brown cows. I would love to know if you guys have read this book, but if not, you should go out and get it. It really kind of starts getting you to question and understand your why, right? Why? What is your why? What makes you special? And that is what your authentic business marketing should be. Being a purple cow doesn't mean that you have to do something or outrageous. It simply means being willing to stand out, to be intentional, be different, and be your true to your brand in a way that resonates with your customers, right? When you combine these strategies below, or what I'm going to talk about, with a clear sense of why and what you do, you're already on the path to being remarkable. So first, build a strong online presence. We've talked about some of these already. Your website is your storefront. Make sure it's fast, it's mobile friendly, and it reflects your brand. Online reviews matters, as we talked about. 91% rely on them to decide where to go. Don't just exist online, you need to engage. So how do you do that? Post useful content, answer questions, and show personality, right? We talked about some of those examples. Do you have customer testimonials? Do you have a dog in your shop sometimes? Maybe have a pet. That's kind of your go-to posting, right? People love seeing those interactions with your customers and things that go on behind the scenes. Leverage tech to deliver convenience. So offer online booking, live chat, and digital updates. These things make you accessible. AutoLeap users actually who have added our online booking have seen a 15% increase in appointments. So use CRM tools to personalize service and build long-term relationships. Market creativity and personality. So SMSs, text messages, and emails aren't dead. They are still powerful when used to share loyalty programs, special offers, and service reminders that feel tailored. I don't know if anybody in here also does mailers, right? So mailers are expensive, but they do work when done well, right? They don't need to be done all the time, but it definitely shows your personality and who you are. So I've received a lot of mailers. I feel like they're coming back, and I know a lot of coaching companies talks about these, and there's great partners out there like Upswell who could help you do this. But it really does help drive your brand and build personality. Make your shop Instagrammable. So you yourself as an owner or service advisor may not be great at Instagram, but maybe somebody in your shop is, and so allowing them to help drive this. But looking at is your shop clean? Does it look modern? Do you have welcoming spaces that inspire social sharing? Because these things create a digital word of mouth that can't be bought. So consider maybe a wall, right? Like, could you do a laminated light up neon light of your logo, right? Creating kind of a wall that people can take photos, like I mentioned earlier, shop dog, or even a great coffee setup. So small things create shareable moments, right? Again, think about the moments that are created at Chick-fil-A. It's not about going to the extreme and putting a lot of money. It's just these moments of experience that you're creating for your customers that really do matter. Lead with brand authenticity, right? We've talked about this, but those younger generations, they definitely see through corporate speak. They are drawn to real stories, transparency, and people. One of my favorite brands that I follow is Spanx. I'm sure I have a lot of men on this call, and I don't mean that to create a divide between genders, but Spanx is obviously a female-driven brand. Sarah Blakely is the owner, but she really built trust by sharing the raw, unfiltered truth about her entrepreneurial journey. So using things like Instagram and TikTok to give behind-the-scenes glimpses of your team and the values, setting values and showing your customers that you follow your values and are super important in just overall work. So give your customers access and glimpses into what drives you behind the scenes. Strategies, again, to continue this conversation of attracting these younger generations. First impressions to long-term loyalty. Connection builds trust. So do you have good connection with your customers? Do you believe that you're driving retention through the things that you're doing? I would love, the best way to learn is to be in groups with other shop owners and just getting experiences from them, right? It's kind of like a mentorship, 20-something group. They're so powerful because you could try something, maybe it didn't work, which is totally okay. Failure is not a bad thing. It's actually what drives companies and brands further, right? To continue to just think about what works. But talk to other shop owners, right? I would love in the chat for you to kind of tell us some things about how you're attracting your customers and how you're keeping retention. Is it through maybe cleaning their car after the service? Or if you know that they have a car seat in the back of the car, do you have like a stuffed animal that's branded by your shop that you can leave in the car seat for them? So it's, again, creating small moments. And there are other ways that you don't have to spend a lot of money to create these impactful, rememberable moments. But you just want to make sure that as you're attracting these younger customers, you're making sure that you're building loyal advocates. And so being intentional, showing up, communicate, and connect. So another brand I think that we should look at is Yeti. And so Yeti, most of you guys know we're actually giving away a Yeti in our leadership, our leaderboard. So make sure you go back to the leaderboard and see how you can win this. But Yeti is a company that started with coolers and built a movement, right? What they do well is that they know their customer. They speak directly to the lifestyle of hunters, outdoorsmen, and tradespeople. You can do the same thing by showing your customers that you get their lives, their vehicles, and their time constraints, right? I'm sure a lot of you have customers that are moms, right? I love this example, and I'm sorry, I'm all about examples, but I just dropped my car off again. I told you I have lots of car issues and I should probably start buying better cars. But I dropped my car off and we're down a car. My husband has the other car. And the service advisor drove me home. I'm less than a mile from the house. I was going to order an Uber. The service that they have that allows customers to use Uber or get a coupon was not working. And they were like, you know what, we'll just drive you. And we were talking about the customers that they have. We passed a grease monkey, and I don't mean any harm by them. But he, was asking if they get a lot of customers that come over from Grease Monkey to them. And he said, yeah, actually, we get a lot of them. And I said, it's really interesting, like to start thinking about how to market to the customer that goes to the Grease Monkey. And I'm sure at times your customers go there as well, right? I'm a mom. I am super busy. I work a full-time job. And then the moment my 9 to 5 ends, I am on my next job. And I don't mean that to complain, but I have very limited time in my day to go book an appointment and wait or drop off my car. And then I have to figure out the logistics behind it. So convenience, again, going back to this convenience, I need to drop off my car. I needed to be in and out. But really catering to your customer and knowing the time constraints that they have and showing up for them. So this shop that I dropped my car off showed up to me in the way of bringing me home, right? And so it's just small moments. Yeti, going back to them, they create community loyalty. And so Yeti gear shows up everywhere, from garage fridges to job sites, because it means something. And so how can you do that, right? You're obviously not a Yeti and you can't have coolers everywhere. But what about hosting a customer appreciation barbecue, right? Hand out branded hats or tees, or partner even with local businesses for events and giveaways. So how can you be a community brand and not just a service provider? I implore you to think about those things. But Yeti also then, they keep every touch point on brand. So from packaging to social media, Yeti's brand feels premium, even more so rugged. So you can apply this to your shop experiences by keeping it clean, again, keeping it professional and friendly from your lobby to your text messages. Bring it all the way through. It's all about the brand every step of the way. And so practical ways may be to build these connections, be visual. So use photos and videos to explain the repairs, right? Digital vehicle inspections with AutoLeap, you can not only create multiple different pictures, but you can also do videos, and you can mark up those videos, right? Super important to show the quality of work that you're giving your customer. Simplify processes. So offer online payments and real-time updates. Personalized mail, we talked about this. There's a lot of companies like Upswell or others that do direct mailers. They still work when it's creative. So including QR codes or links to bookings or offerings are great ways to engage. And then lastly, engage your community. We talked about, why don't you do any of you sponsor local sports events, host a car clinic, or a community event, and just really involve the community and the event that you're putting on social media. So I want you guys to know that, like, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just need to show up differently and consistently, right? And I have this quote that I just posted on Facebook the other day, but it's, your work, your workflow, your life isn't going to change unless you change specific workflows in your day and things that you do consistently every single day. And so again, it's about how you show up and how consistent are you and how you show up, right? Just like when you go out to train for something or do a diet, how many of you create New Year's goals, and how quickly do those fall off, right? And I'm not meaning to say like you're a failure, but what I am saying is that consistency is so important to the success of those things that we set out to do. And so when you combine smart tools, local connection, you give a clear sense of who you are, and not only just that you're building a customer base, but you're building loyalty. Okay. And so actual metrics, obviously you cannot improve what you don't measure. So these customer focused metrics help you move from guessing to growing. So things like average response time. How quickly does your shop respond to inquiries online? Or is it by phone, by text? So slow responses equal lost opportunity. Something that, like, just to kind of aim for, I would do it under, you should aim for 10 minutes during business hours, under 10 minutes during business hours. There's tools that you can use like autoresponders or chats to help you get those response times down. What is your repeat customer rate, right? So looking at the percentage of customers who return for additional services. One of our customers recently told me that they're looking for a, when they customer initially comes in versus what they were additionally given, they hope to have a 20 to 30% return rate within 30 days, right, of that customer repeat coming back. So what is that for you guys? Repeat customers are often more profitable and easier to retain. So use your CRM. We have one within AutoLeap to track visits frequently and improve those follow-up strategies. We talked about this previously, but online reviews. So your average rating on platforms like Google, Yelp, and Facebook are super important. Again, 91% of these younger generations really rely on those reviews. Request feedback after service and respond to every review. We talked about the good and the bad is just as important. Some of you may have, I hope most of you have, but customer satisfaction scores, usually known as CSAT, but a quick survey asking how satisfied customers are with their visit. These are great for spotting maybe service gaps, or for you to be able to celebrate wins with your team, right? Of course, understanding gaps are important, but celebrating wins with your team is also really important as well to keep the morale going. And track these trends. Again, going back to, you cannot improve what you don't measure. You need to track these trends and follow up on those scores. Net promoter score is also super important. A score that's based on how likely a customer are to recommend you. So this is a strong indicator of loyalty and word of mouth potential. So again, how likely are you to recommend us is as simple as it is. And then you have to act on the feedback, right? Getting that information is great, but how do you respond to that information is even more important. Customer lifetime value. This is the total revenue of a customer brings over the course of their relationship with the shop. So these help you prioritize long-term relationships over time transactions. So we do run some campaigns for customers on the total revenue. So customers that are like VIPs, we can put them into different buckets or segmentations, and how do you market to them? Could you run promotions at the end of the year that really exemplifies how much these customers mean to you, right? I had an experience and it actually brought me to tears. So I've kind of mentioned this. I'm a mom. I travel for my job. And so that means time lost from my family, right? When I'm on the road. I have a loyalty to Delta, regardless of where you guys stand on the brand loyalty with your airlines. But I live in Georgia. Georgia is the hub for Delta, and I've just grown up. My parents work for Delta, and so it's just over the time I've grown to love Delta. Sometimes they annoy me, but as with everything. But I was on a flight to Vancouver and, I was just kind of tired. I didn't want to be on the flight. I really, was super excited for the end of where I was going. I loved where the event that I was going to, the partners that I got to meet. But at the same time, there's still this guilt that I felt. Well, the flight attendant was walking up and down the aisle and she, greeted me, Miss Wright. I just wanted to thank you for being a platinum member of Delta. And so but she didn't stop there. She said, and I said, thank you. Of course, I started to tear because I was already tired. And she goes, we recognize that means that you are traveling with us quite a bit and you must be away from those that you love. And it's getting me again. And it's just small recognition that matters, right? And you can create these moments that matter with your customers. And I promise you, it will go far longer for you than just something small that you do through marketing. Create the moments that matter so that you can share these moments with folks like I'm sharing with you today. And so, creating things like it's really important that you're not just looking at how many cars you've serviced this week, right? You're missing the bigger picture. These metrics that I've just gone over really help you build a business that's predictable, profitable, and people first. Okay, so important. What are some other tools that you can use to track? So I've mentioned this a little bit, but AutoLeap and other CRM systems. AutoLeap just happens to have a CRM tool baked into the system automatically. They help you track these customer interactions, service history, booking behavior, and follow-up performances all in one place. Things like review management platforms use Google Business Profiles to monitor and respond to your reviews. If you don't have somebody helping you with that, we do have a marketing team. They spoke a little bit earlier, so you can go back and watch that help you manage your Google Business Profile. AutoLeap customers can monitor and respond to Google reviews directly within the platform, which makes it easier to manage reputation in real time. Google Analytics track website traffic, appointment bookings, inquiry performances to understand how customers engage with your shop online. Collect customer feedback, the customer satisfaction, the net promoter score. You can do that through, things like our CRM or SurveyMonkey, Typeform, in-app services. Those will give you quick post-service surveys to gauge loyalty and satisfaction. Call tracking. There you can track and record inbound calls so that you can measure lead sources, monitor responses, and time to the time to quality to improve communication performance. So again, looking at modern, easy to use tools that already exist to make your workflow more efficient and insightful. Okay. Wrapping up here, I know we've got a few more slides to go, but just want to kind of go through some key insights, right? Just some numbers. It's so important, like words matter, but the numbers matter. They tell the story. And so just kind of giving you an example. If you see 50 cars per week, okay, that's the number that I have off the top of my head. That's about 2,600 customers per year, right? And so if you retained just 5% of that, that would be about 130 customers. And let's just say their average RO is about 350 per visit. Again, just taking a few quick numbers. I know most of you are doing far more than that. But let's just say they spent 350 per visit each time. Let's say they then visit 3 times a year. You'd be looking at $136,000 or about $137,000 per year in an additional revenue by focusing on retention. And so again, just by focusing on the customers that you already have is so important to your business, right? 5% more on your business. What would that do for you? Okay. So the opportunity here is that by building loyalty, the customers last. And so millennials and Gen Zs aren't just the future of your customer base, but they are already here. right? And they do expect more from every transaction. And so with AutoLeap, you don't need to piece together multiple systems or guess what's working. You have everything that we've just talked about and what you need in one platform to build these long-lasting relationships with the generations of customers that we've just spoke on. So here's a few ways how we are helping you deliver, or our customers deliver. So the faster personalized communication, right? Responding to leads and keeping customers informed with real-time statuses, updates, text messages, and automated workflows, follow-ups. Integrated reviews. I don't need to go into that anymore, but make sure that you're responding to those Google reviews. Online booking, digital approvals, right? So again, how are you curating the first step all the way to the end where you're building trust, right? Visual estimates and transparency tools. So show before and after photos. I talked about how when I got my car, the transmission, it was kind of like this whole process step by step that I got photos of my car through the process. Regardless of that I wanted them, I didn't know that I wanted them, but I thought that experience was really cool because it's something that I don't know and I would love to learn how. I actually don't want to learn how, but I want to learn the process behind. And I think it's really cool that the shop took the time to kind of show me the process. Visual estimates and transparency tools. So is really important for you to educate your customers. Reporting and insights, track key customer metrics like repeat visits, right? What is the rate that they're repeating, response time, and make more data-driven decisions. Data is so important. And so I just want to wrap it up. I see a few, I know we're a little bit early. I love Megan. They didn't have a free loaner, no, to the example that I had given earlier where they gave me a ride home. Honestly, I think it's okay. I've been to a few shops, they've had loaners. Transparently, the loaners were always taken. I did have a buddy who's a repair shop owner who no longer owns it, but he went above and beyond, and actually he just happened to have 12 different cars, has lent me a car before. And so I noticed that I'm a friend of his, and that's probably why he let me have his car. But like those moments still matter. And they're things, being able to show up for your community in ways that they unexpectedly, the unexpected is super important. So I want to leave the last few minutes. I know we're wrapping up and the next session starts. I think we're going to go into entertainment break, which I'm excited. We've got some games to play, but kind of give it to you guys. Do you have any questions for me? Is there anything that I spoke about that you would like to learn more about? Yeah, but I really appreciate everybody tuning in. We have had such a fantastic day already. And, my hope is that this session sparked some ideas. And if anything, I hope that you leave with trying to understand what your purple cow is and what makes you special and stand out above all brands around you, because it is really important. And what are the things that you do on a daily that you consistently do for your customers? And so I am going to end this session. You could go over and look at the leaderboard, see how you can win prizes. We have some incredible prizes for you throughout the time that we have today. And or with the time that you have left, you could go back and look at some of the other sessions that we've had throughout the day. So thank you so much for your time. You guys are awesome, and we are so grateful to have you here. Bye.